University of Johannesburg students caused a minor disruption outside the SABC Auckland Park premises on Friday, calling for media attention on what they describe as an alarming rise in gender-based violence across their campuses and residencies. The students say multiple rape cases, including recent incidents at Kingsway Place residence, have not been adequately addressed by the university management. They argue that their safety concerns are consistently dismissed, leaving many of them feeling unprotected, unheard, and fearful in the very spaces meant to support their education. Their protests, which included blocking SABC entrances, was specifically aimed at ensuring their voices reached the public and authorities through the media. Let's take you to the moment when students delivered their memorandum.
We acknowledge, and your list of demands are well noted, and I must also appreciate that you were able to recognize that the SABC is a public platform where concerns, especially issues of the scourge of gender-based violence, are properly going to be heard. We have well noted your list of demands, and I'm sure the SABC will respond to you as soon as possible. Thank you very much for your confidence in the public broadcaster. And we must also reiterate that no one should ignore the scourge of gender-based violence in the country. It is a serious issue, and it's a serious issue that students are concerned because their lives are continually threatened. And the SABC has a strong position to say there must be no gender-based violence in the country.
Where University of Johannesburg students picketed outside the SABC and handed a memorandum to the SABC News in particular, on their demands for more media attention as on the issue of gender-based violence and rape on their student campuses, which surround the SABC here in Auckland Park. For more on this, we are joined by student representatives Papa Nikekana as well as Winnie Lungu, who are in studio with me. Good afternoon. Thank you so much for joining me. Really do appreciate it. Winnie, I'm going to start with you. Talk us through what some of those requests and demands were on the memorandum that you had handed over to the SABC.
Well, thank you so much. So we just wanted media coverage on our institutions of learning, because honestly, what has been happening on our campuses, we have students coming in from different parts of the country coming to study, and then you get them being victimized on campuses from people who are actually supposed to be protecting us. What's happening right now is that we're having power imbalances where you have your HKs, house committees, SRCs, and other people who hold positions of power, and they tend to exploit that power within our institutions. And most students actually have fear of retaliation. So even when things like this do happen on our campuses, they fear speaking out because they fear the retaliation that's going to come after when you speak out. And this is a person that holds a position of power. What is going to happen to me? What's going to happen to my degree? Am I actually going to get to finish this degree? Because you have someone with a position of power that is now taking advantage of their power. And there are people who are regarded as a minority within our institutions, and we've put so much focus on the majority that we've forgotten about the minority, such as students with disabilities that are on our campuses. Now, if you know, students with disabilities actually are two or three more times prone to facing gender-based violence because they are more dependent on these people, whether it's for mobility, access, and them going to these people, they need assistance, and in exchange for assistance, they're being violated of their rights.
Yeah, absolutely horrendous. Babanya, how has the University of Johannesburg management been dealing with reports and cases of gender-based violence and rape on campuses?
Well, the University of Johannesburg has always been an incompetent institution. The management of the University of Johannesburg is not doing anything. That's why we took the memorandum to the University of Johannesburg as well, and we implemented certain strategies in order to combat the GBV cases which are rising in our institution.
Talk us through some of those strategies.
So some of the strategies is that there should be a 24-hour GBV desk, and that GBV desk must be prioritized 24 hours for the students to come and raise their concerns, come and raise their issues. Because if a person is going to be raped, or a person is going to be killed on campuses, they can't go and report cases outside. It's too far to go outside to go and open a case at the police station. Let there be an implementation of a 24-hour help desk, which is going to be at the center of making sure that the GBV is combated. But also we need awareness as well. The institution must must make sure that it has awareness campaigns to make sure that it deals with the gender-based violence cases, to make sure that people understand the problems, the important problems which they may be faced by gender-based violence.
Yeah. So on the 24-hour gender-based violence desk that were part of the proposals that you had made, what was the university's response to that?
They said they will get back to us. They never responded to us. So that's why we actually took it to the streets to come and picket at the SABC to gain more coverage in terms of what we are fighting for. Picket lines by their own nature is a sign of democracy. That's why we came here to picket outside and make sure that our voices are read, our voices are heard. We are tired of GBV. We are tired of the high levels of crime which are being imposed on our youth. So that's exactly what we came here for.
Yeah. Winnie, describe to us what the experiences are that women report on campus about how their cases of gender-based violence and rape are treated by the university and the South African Police Service.
Well, every story is different, so we cannot put them all in one box. But when it comes to campus, majority of the time, regardless of what it is that you are reporting, we are told that you first have to start by opening a case at the police station. Now, I understand that they have their own protocol, but at the end of the day, you have just been violated. Imagine a young child or first year who has just been raped, and you're now being told that for you to report this case, you have to go outside of campus. Right. You're already afraid for your life, and they have to go outside of campus to report these cases at the police station. And in terms of the perpetrators, you find that 90% of the time the perpetrators are students of the institution, right? And I cannot be coming to class and seeing someone who victimized me walking to class alongside me. And those are things that sometimes happen within our campus. And thing is, we have a department that is actually supposed to be working towards assisting students who are happen to have such cases, which is transformation unit. But the numbers the numbers keep piling up because there's nothing that's being done to assist them. And in terms of the police station as well, we are given Brixton Police Station. And if you know Brixton is not very safe for students. So you have just been violated, and you are now sent to an area that is just as unsafe for you to report this case, whilst we can have a space on campus that can assist us, which is what my colleague was speaking about just now in terms of that 24-hour report line, where students can report on campus and get assistance right there and then, rather than having to go out and report those cases.
Yeah, yeah. Papani, students who are accused of rape or gender-based violence on campus, are they typically suspended, expelled? What does the university do about that? Because we know that these cases can drag out for a very long time.
Yeah. So once a person reports a case of rape, they have to bring more information to the institution. And then the institution is going to make sure that it deals with the facts first, because there ought to be sufficient evidence. So once a person comes to the institution to come and report, they first report the case, and then we make sure that we take the regular steps to make sure that justice is served to the students of the university.
Yeah. So there's no temporary expulsion or temporary suspension or expulsion?
You do become suspended in terms of they remove you from your position. So if you're an SRC member, like what happened at Wits, it's pending investigation. So you take a step back and you let the law take its own course. So those are one of the implementations which the students, the university is making sure that it sustains towards the betterment of our women in South Africa.
Yeah. Winnie, what more could be done to protect women in residences? As we've seen, there was a rape case that took place in a student residence. House committee is not proactive enough. Are there no security services available? What's lacking and what more could be done?
Well, firstly, security is sometimes put in place, but you find that sometimes the same security that is supposed to protect us is the one that actually they don't condone such behavior. You'll find abo malume that are supposed to actually look after us. They'll start with such comments as in, yo mntana umuhle, amathanga akho, such comments. And these comments now make you feel unsafe as a female student. The same people that are put in spaces that are supposed to protect you are the ones doing these things to you. Same goes with SRC and house committees. We have had cases from ETSA which say that SRC members and house committees have actually victimized students. So these people have been perpetrators. So how do you then expect them to put down measures to protect you when they are part of the problem? You know, so I think at this moment there's still a lot that has to be done.
Yeah. Earlier on you said part of the problem is that if you report a case, they tell you, well, you first have to go to the police station, and they sent you into the wilderness of Brixton, which itself is a crime-ridden area. What would be the appropriate intervention there if a student goes to, say, the transformation unit and says, hey, I have been violated? What would be the appropriate response be from the university and the transformation unit in that instance?
I think we need to implement a more victim-centered intervention where you basically look after the victim first before you try and look at everything else. When someone comes to you with an issue, you first try and check on them. How are you after all of these things that have happened to you? Because this is a very traumatic event. When something like this happens, you are very traumatized, and there's a lot that you need to think about and process during that time. So a more victim-centered intervention means that you put the victim first. Right? And everything else will come second. So with them trying to say, no, you need to go there and report there, then come back, no, as much as they'll, usually at UJ, they would give you PsyCAD, that's a Center for Psychological Services. But even with that, it comes at a stage where you first have to go through all of these processes. So I believe the first step is look at the victim first. How are they emotionally, psychologically? Look at their well-being before you try and look at everything else.
Yeah. Papani, you handed over a memorandum to the university. When are you expecting to hear back from them?
We gave them 2 weeks notice. Should they not come back to us in 2 weeks, we'll go and make a follow-up, and we shall come back here again in terms of protests, because we also handed a memorandum to the SABC as well.
Yes.
So we gave them 2 weeks to actually listen to our demands in protection of the rights and the dignity of our students.
Earlier on you spoke about that awareness campaign.
Yes.
As part of the proposals.
Yes.
What does that look like in practice?
There has to be certain companies, there has to be certain organizations like Women for Change who are invited to our campuses to come and educate our men, to come and educate our women about the imposement of GBV, which affects the people of South Africa. But also the youth of South Africa must take into consideration of their own revolution. There comes a time where we must take it to the streets, and we must make sure that the picket lines is the only solution to making sure that the rights of our women are being prioritized, and make sure that the rights of our women are being focused on, and particularly picketing as a way of that matter.
Are there any student-led awareness initiatives that currently take place on campus?
No, it's only the EFF. It's the EFF organization, which is the organization which we are in. It's the one that most quite time to time organizes marches, organizes picketing as a way of making sure that we fight GBV, we fight rape cases and other cases which students may report.
Yeah. Winnie, do you believe that awareness campaigns can make a dent in towards changing the culture on campus?
I think if done correctly, they can. Because right now, I think there are a few things that were being done, but in the way that they are done, for example, there was a lecture on GBV happening on Friday, actually. But if you know young people, you know students who wants to go and attend a lecture. during this time of the year, actually the time of the semester where you have exams, they put down lectures that we should go and attend. Those things usually don't work. And when you speak of awareness, it's very important for people to be aware, because there's types of abuse which most women do not know is abuse. For example, economic abuse. People are abused economically and they do not notice it or see it because they do not know that it is abuse, or what's happening to them is abuse. So if done correctly, yes, awareness can make a change, but we need to change how exactly we approach this awareness.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to have to leave it there. Winnie, thank you so much for your time. Pavani, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for coming into studio. Thank you so much for raising awareness on this and getting the country to take it serious and shifting their attention towards this. And we'll certainly keep our eyes on it as well, and all the best.